Hello, hello. My name is Carol Yacobucci, and I'm a life mastery coach and dream builder coach. And I am excited to have a guest with me today, my dear friend Therese, and she's coming to us from France.
Hello.
And it's very exciting how we met. We met together through online courses and then came together with a group of other ladies who have been meeting for several years, almost once a week. And I would like to have Therese tell us a little bit about yourself, Therese.
So I am a gypsy soul, I call myself sometimes. I have always had a strong sense of wanderlust. I did my first move when I was 17. We are now back in France because we've come and gone. And this was my 29th move. And so I am passionate about cultures and moving. And I help, others embark on that journey as well, taking the idea of, another location would be interested, all the way through to being in the new location and more importantly, feeling at home, belonging to that new culture.
Right. So she's living permanently in France now, though you were born originally in Canada
Yeah. Yeah.
and then lived in the United States for a while and Germany and several other places,
Yeah.
which
So,
is really neat.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what made you think about living in France?
Oh my goodness. So when I was a little girl, I had this thing about France, and you would always see like ladies walking on the Champs-Élysées and they looked so elegant and they'd have like these soirees. And I used to think like, I want that. It was something magical about it. And there was Paris, but there was also French countryside and the ocean side. There was just something about the country altogether. And then I forgot about it. And then in university, I took ancient civilizations. And I remember one particular day in school, we were in this auditorium and we were learning about Louis the 15th. And they projected the picture of Louis the 15th's desk. And I got chills. I had like the hair stand up. And I remember grabbing my girlfriend's arm and I was like, oh my God, that desk is so romantic. And later on, we found out that it had a secret compartment where he kept his love letters from Madame de Pompadour, and there was secret doorways and everything in it. And I just equaled France with romance, France with love. It was just A equals A kind of in my mind. And then I forgot about it. I moved, across Canada. I ended up in Florida. I met a colleague's brother-in-law when I was there, and he was German, but living in France. And so it kind of like, oh, I used to want to go there, but I had kind of, it was just like an inner dream that you forget about. And and then the first time that I went to visit him, it was just magic. I mean, here I was on the Champs-Élysées, or we had a picnic outside of the Louvre, and all these images that I had when I was a little girl, I was like, I'm sitting here, I'm living it. And then on the third day, he said, oh, I've got something really special that I want to show you. And he didn't tell me what it was. And we ended up at Versailles. And he was taking me on a tour of the Chateau of Versailles. And I had never told him my story about, I don't even think he knew that I went to university at that point. And so we visited the castle and we went into Louis the 15th's apartments. We walked the grounds, and it was there that he proposed to me. And I was just like, oh my God, this whole thing kind of came full. I think I created this. Like, you don't
I
really
love it.
realize that you're in the process of creating, but having that there and just so deeply anchored in as a teenager and as a young girl brought it to life. And here we
I
are.
love that. I love that. I got goosebumps from that. That is so cool. And it's just so, a beautiful example of how when we really go into our dreams and really visualize a life we would love and feel that experience and really give it a lot of senses, or walking down this, where are you walking? What are you seeing? What are you doing? Right. When you add all those senses to your dream, it makes it come to life in your visualization, and then the universe conspires to make it happen too. And look how years later, it's like synchro, synchronicity. It all came together.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is, I mean, the first pictures that I saw when I was a little girl was Paris, but I was like, then I saw the countryside and I saw different things. And I used to always be like I knew I wanted to be in France, but I wanted to experience it all. And now we've lived just outside Versailles. We've lived in Paris. We lived in the Loire Valley with all the castles. We were in the countryside, and now we're
Mm.
on the ocean. So I've experienced all of France.
I love it. I love it. And so are you moving again, or what are you doing these days?
No, I've never said I'm not moving again. I actually had my very first panic attack when we were in Germany because we were about to buy the family home and I knew that meant we couldn't leave it. And I had a panic attack. I've never had one before in my life. And so I've never been able to say I'm not moving again. But when I was younger too, I also had a fascination with Egypt and Stonehenge and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when we moved here, it was the first confinement. Borders were closed. We like stuck across a border to get here even. And when we found this house, I didn't even visit the house. Like I did quickly, it was awful. But in the garden, we have these stones. It's called a menhir. It's a 5,000-year-old stone.
Oh,
And then
wow.
we have what's called a dolmen, which is like what you see in Stonehenge, like the big stones with the tabletop. That's in our garden. And I went, that's it. I'm home. Like everything has come together right here in France. And so now I'm not moving. That's why I'm coaching expats. I get to move vicariously through them.
So you help others who have created this dream that they would love to live in some other part of the world. And you help them refine their dream and actually take the steps necessary uh, to actually move.
Yeah,
And go ahead.
I mean, there's different phases, you know. There's the first phase where like there's the idea. And a lot of people have fun with this until it gets to the actual moving or telling people and then getting all the negative feedback, right? And so there's a
Mhm.
lot of mindset and everything. And so I actually hold their hand because I've done it in every phase of my life. So, I mean, I illegally bought a house once because I didn't know I wasn't allowed to in another country. I almost moved to a country not knowing I was young, not knowing I needed a visa. I've done it as a single mom. So regardless of the situation, there's a good chance I've done it. So I
Yeah,
walk them through the whole process. And after you move 29 times, you can do it in your sleep. So I can literally pack, move, unpack, and have all the boxes broken down in 3 days. And so I've got a system so other people can just like copy and paste.
that's amazing. I think I need your system just for my house, even though I haven't moved.
I'll make sure to send it to you.
Okay, good. So what's interesting is, one of the things that Therese had to deal with in all of her moves is this idea of belonging. And that when you go someplace new and you don't know a lot of people, you wonder, well, did I make a mistake and do I really belong here? And when our group of ladies got together early in the beginning of the pandemic, and like I said, we met, like every week, one of the things that came out of it was this idea to write a book. And so we decided to write a book about belonging and all of our own personal experiences about belonging. So, what would you say to someone, Therese, who's looking to move to another country and thinking, well, gee, I'm going to be all alone there. How do I fit in? How do I belong?
You have to think that moving to another country, moving to another culture, it's a gift, right? I mean, it's how boring would life be if it was all just one big culture? And so I think the first step, I mean, going in with a sense of curiosity and respect, don't expect people to convert to you and your habits. You're getting out of your comfort zone because you want to experience something new. So experience it. And people often think it's hard to integrate, but I think they would be surprised that when you go to another culture and you try to do things their way, or you even if you don't speak the language yet, if you just learn how to say, I'm sorry, my French is bad, my Italian is bad, I'm learning, people appreciate that. And just that tiny little effort opens them up. and they want to compensate. They want to like show you their appreciation for that little effort. And it's so easy to get into cultures and develop, social circles and everything when you come from that perspective of you joining them.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to the idea of taking the action step, right? You joining them.
Mhm.
You have to understand who you are. You have to trust in yourself. And then you have to take that action step to move forward and join something like I did with just joining this our group of ladies. And so there are 9 of us that came together to put our stories into this book. And you can see the back of the cover of our book behind Therese there. And we are just really excited to share our stories with you and would love for you to learn more about Therese's travels and my experiences through my life and coming to a point of belonging. So thank you so much, Therese. Appreciate your sharing your journey with us. And we look forward to talking to more of the ladies who wrote in our book. So till
Yes.
next
Thank
time,
you.
thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Yay. I pushed the